Hi everyone, and thanks for being with me. Who would have ever thought that Turnbull, our Mr. Malcolm Turnbull, would have become a hero? Well, it's happened. Now, the reason why Turnbull has become, to me, an heroic figure is that he's saying what I have been saying now for months, and that is that we as a country, through our politicians, need to make a stand against Donald Trump. And we need to call it out for what it is. We've got to find a way to stop being sycophantic to a moron who unfortunately is in control of one of the most powerful nations on this planet. And we've got to stop being afraid of this man. We have to have the intestinal fortitude to be able to say to Donald Trump, well, we don't believe what you're saying. We don't believe you. We find you abhorrent and insulting, and that you are a disgusting human being. Not that I expect people to say that specifically, but at the end of the day, you are not a nice person, and we don't like what you're doing in terms of your policies. So, and you could attack him on two levels. You could attack him on the personal level because he is a revolting human being, or you could attack him on his policy level because he simply is not implementing policies that are in the best interest of the United States, and certainly policies which are about retribution and attacking the rest of the world, because the man has a small, insignificant brain that has these brain farts that turn into catastrophes. So we need to be thinking a little bit more about Donald Trump, but more importantly, we need to be honest about him. Now, there's two clips I want to show you. One is a clip, the other's an audio, though. And he had an interview with Sarah Ferguson from 7:30 Report last night. And I wanted to play you, I don't know if I'll play you all of it, it's about 7 minutes, but I'll play most of it so that you, if you haven't seen this, you should watch it, because it is in response to something that Donald Trump had said about Turnbull. Look, he wouldn't even remember who Turnbull was. But nevertheless, he makes this stuff up about Malcolm. And Sarah has him on to talk about or respond to the Truth Social, or Untruth Social, we should perhaps call it, and see what Turnbull has to say. Now, after that, this morning, I think, Turnbull appeared on ABC Radio, and he was asked to comment again on this very issue. So I'll play both for you and discuss it perhaps as we go along. Here's the one from Sarah, and we will talk about this as it progresses.
Speaking of Donald Trump, the US president took to his preferred social media platform, Truth Social, to criticise former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull today. The president said Mr. Turnbull never understood what was going on in China and was a, quote, weak and ineffective leader. The post was provoked apparently by Mr. Turnbull saying Donald Trump's decisions and behaviour since taking office have benefited China's Xi Jinping. Former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull joins me now. Malcolm Turnbull, welcome. What's the purpose of calling out Donald Trump's behaviour publicly?
Well, it's important that we are open to discussing these things. I mean, the reality is that Xi Jinping, China, will take advantage of Trump's chaotic behaviour and his harassing and bullying, seeking to extort allies, the way he has damaged the Western alliance. All of this erratic behaviour will be taken advantage of by China, because what China will do is they will say they'll be the opposite of Trump. Where Trump is erratic, they'll be consistent. Where Trump is rude and abusive, as you saw in that tweet, they'll be respectful. They'll play a very different game to what they did in the first Trump administration. So, you know, he's actively helping Putin in Ukraine, and perhaps not deliberately, but effectively, he's helping Xi Jinping.
Is it your view that it reaches the level where Xi Jinping could, at some point, actually peel away friends of the US towards China? Could it reach that level?
Well, I think certainly not a country like Australia, obviously, but certain, treaty allies, but certainly, ASEAN, countries in, Africa, in South America, anywhere where there is where people are trying to be friends with both sides. If Trump abuses them, seeks to bully them, puts crippling tariffs on them, they will naturally edge closer to China. Of course they will.
There was nothing erratic in what you said, but you're still making an argument publicly. Is it easier and better for Australia in this acute moment, when the tariff decision is obviously being made, if diplomacists are given the maximum opportunity to operate behind closed doors without your intervention?
I never thought I'd have to defend free speech here on the 7:30 report, and I'm glad you're a little bit embarrassed raising that with me, aren't you? So anyway, the fact of the matter
it's just
is
a question about the moment
up.
that we find ourselves in. So I think what I'm asking is, what leads you to say it at this time? What is it that Trump is doing that has become so egregious that you have to speak out?
Well, look around us. I mean, the impact Trump is having on the world, on the Western alliance, on markets, on our economies. I mean, these are matters that we have to talk about. We cannot continue this bipartisan gaslighting that is going on at the moment, where there are these massive changes in Washington affecting us and the whole world. I mean, look at the extraordinary treatment of Canada, efforts to basically cripple Canada's economy in order to bully them into becoming the 51st state. I mean, this is all unprecedented. But yet, if you look to our political leaders, there's nothing wrong with AUKUS, everything's fine, the relation.
So I just I'll just stop it there, because I think the points that Turnbull's made are pretty sound, and that is that at what point do our politicians stand up and say enough's enough? That, we're going to wait now until these tariffs come into play, and they will, because Trump is so small-minded that he will now say that because Turnbull has said these things about him, that reflects Australian politics, and as a result, I'm going to punish you. So he'll go on to some sort of retribution scheme because he's a clown and he doesn't understand geopolitics either, and he will isolate his best friend in the Asia-Pacific region, such as Australia. So that's what's going to happen. Now, the point that Turnbull raised is also about free speech, and he tackles this in his radio interview today, and so I'll play some of this for you as well. And this is where he attacks Sally Sarah around this, because Sally is kind of saying the same thing that was raised on the 7:30 report, is, to what extent are we limiting free speech if we're not able to talk about the issues that concern us and respond to the bullying? Why are we allowing a bully to, and boy, do I support this one, why do we allow a bully to bully? Why don't we stand up against that bully and say, hey, enough's enough. What in the hell are you doing? At this point I will say, please subscribe to my channel, ring the bell for further notifications. I'd love to hear from you. So let's have a listen to this other one, and we'll talk about this as well.
Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull joins me now. Mr. Turnbull, welcome back to Breakfast.
Yeah, good to be with you.
Was it reckless to be going to the media and offering criticism of Donald Trump in this pivotal week with this immediate tariff threat hanging over Australia?
Well, look, I talk about these issues and write about them all the time, so I've got no idea why Donald Trump suddenly decided to respond in that way he did. You'd think he'd have better things to do late at night than, writing abusive posts about, Australian politicians or former politicians. Sally, I'm a little bit concerned by the way you raised this too, because Sarah Ferguson did the same thing last night. it troubles me. I mean, both of you distinguished journalists on the ABC, are you suggesting that we should engage in self-censorship in Australia for fear of offending the huge ego of Donald Trump? Is that really the state that we've got to? Surely we should be free to speak the truth, or are we going to muzzle ourselves for fear of offending Mr. Trump?
Well, I guess one of the joys and responsibilities of freedom of speech is deciding what to say and when to say it. You were aware that this tariff decision was coming, and as a former politician and as a lawyer, you become expert in crafting your words. Was it a wise week to be making these comments?
Well, look, it is every week. Every week is a good week to tell the truth. And these, the markets are being roiled, the world is being roiled. Trump has essentially switched sides and is now favouring Putin in the Ukraine conflict. Right around the world. I mean, maybe you should send a memo to Mark Carney, the new Prime Minister of Canada, and ask him whether he shouldn't have criticised Donald Trump for trying to bankrupt his own country.
So there we have it. We have so the issue for Turnbull, and rightfully so, is around free speech. So if any ex-politician or any other politician for that matter, current politician, has an issue with the way Trump behaves, then they should say so without fear of retribution. The problem that we have now is that if anybody says anything against Trump, they're going to be pillared. They're going to be attacked by Trump. And everybody seems to be fearful of that because the guy I'll reframe that. The guy only has the amount of power that we choose to give him. This is the same with all bullies, schoolyard bullies, workplace bullies. As much power, I've talked about this many times in doing stuff around workplace bullying, but they only have the power that we choose to give them. If we don't give them that power, if we take it away, if we're critical of them, if we confront them, if we tell the bully that is a bully and in a sense smack him in the face, then they're likely to change their behaviour. And as the world gathers together around this issue and starts to call him out for who he is, then perhaps there's a slim chance, a very slim chance, that he will actually change his behaviour. And full marks to Malcolm Turnbull for doing just that. We need more politicians from both sides of politics to do what Malcolm is now suggesting we all should do, and I'm certainly doing that. So just remember to subscribe to my channel, ring the bell for further notifications, do what you need to do. I'll be interested to hear from you in terms of free speech and the ability to be able to speak out against someone like Donald Trump. In the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, be safe.